We are now live.
This is perfect.
Great.
What? Okay, I'm gonna try to put this up on my laptop while I do it. It's not gonna mess everything up. Let's see.
Welcome,
Ooh,
everyone.
this is weird. I can't look at this. I'm gonna get out of there. Get out of there. Okay. Sorry. Hey.
Welcome to our casual, friendly, limited hangout with me, the unwilling facilitator, Andy Futuro, Sean Thomas McDonnell, I'm sorry,
What the heck?
and
I'm out of here.
William Polly III. I've been mispronouncing that in my head the entire time. So I'm
You're not
glad
the
that I
only one.
finally
You're not the only one.
spoke it and am able to be corrected.
It's fine.
If Please interject, give me feedback, tell me how I'm doing. Don't spare my feelings. This is not, my main area of expertise. I'm stumbling through this drunk and confused, well, confused. And we're just going to try and, have a good time here and talk about the book that we all wrote together. And I think there's lots of people in the chat who also participated in this, I hope. And if any of them would like to join in and replace me as the facilitator, please say so in the comments, and I will do my best to make that happen. Maybe we could begin with you, Sean, since you were the first to sign in, or maybe we could begin by just telling anyone who doesn't know what this is. This is a chat for writers who all collaborated on Substack to join forces and put together 29 stories into a collection that we are launching tonight. It's coming out at midnight, possibly, but you'll definitely be able to buy it tomorrow, or you could have pre ordered it before. And it's called The Midnight Vault. It's great. We're all part of it. Now, Sean, would you like to tell us about your story in The Midnight Vault?
Sure. Before I do, I just want to say thank you to all of the other authors who participated in this, to Jay for putting it, like, getting this all in motion, and Shane. I mean, I'm going to show it right now. This is not an infomercial, I swear. Um, it's such a beautiful book, and the texture, so smooth. Um, Honestly, I use it as a pillow now. I don't even read it. It's so soft. But it's beautiful. There's some words in it, um, which are nice words, and
Not my words.
your words are nice. Your story is amazing. All of the stories in there. I actually read all of the stories, and it was difficult to. It was difficult. That's a lot. 29 stories. It was actually 30. We read. I read 30 stories plus the amazing piece, the music piece, and like everything was just. It was just amazing. Anyways, I'm not. See, I told you when I get nervous, I start to ramble. So I gotta pull myself in, talk a little slower. So my piece, uh, what's it about? It's kind of, I think it's something that all of us hopefully can relate to. Where I was thinking, like, okay, why am I writing? Like, who do I write for? Like, what am I doing here? What am I doing on Substack? Um, you put stuff out there, and you think, there's part of you uh, that wants it to be this big thing. There's another part of you that's saying, like, it doesn't fucking matter, whatever, it's cool. I'm just writing because I want to write. Um, and both of these things are true. You could have both of those. You could want both of those things. Um, but for me, I was just thinking, like, I've done music in the past, and going up on stage. I feel like every time you go up on stage, and every time you ship a story, there's always this, or I shouldn't say when you ship a story, when you're writing a story and you're lost in it, that you start to feel like this is what it is. This is what it's about. It's like the actual, whatever you want to call it, craft, or if you want to call it like the process, whatever it is, like getting in there and doing it is that's the good stuff. Um, so in my story, I wanted to have this composer who goes up on stage. He's kind of like, what the fuck am I doing? Why am I? Sorry if anybody has their kids around. What am I doing? Like, I'm up here on stage. I'm gonna do this thing. What do I got after this? What is it? Like what's the point of it all, kind of thing. And then as he's going through this like existential crisis, essentially he starts to figure it out. The house lights come down, but then it comes down on everybody except for these two people who are indifferent to him. They don't care. They don't care if he's good or if he's bad. They're just there. Um, and I wanted it to feel. I wanted the reader to feel that. Wanted them to feel like it was all kind of shrinking, and that the composer, um, I knew that I on Substack, I knew that people would I felt like people could identify with the composer. So to me, I felt like it was really easy to write for a reader. Um, and all of that, I knew that people contributing to the collection were going to be doing horror or sci-fi. And I really wanted to touch on this other part of the Twilight Zone that doesn't get so much love, and it's um, these pieces that are very stripped down, dialogue heavy, or just very introspective. Um, there isn't like crazy twists and turns. There's like little things like you could hear the kind of thing, but like really it's all just about like the internal struggle of somebody. And that's what I was going for. So I feel like um, I'm very proud of that story. I'm like more proud of that story than I am a lot of my stories, because I do feel like I was really focused on Rod Serling, and really focused on the just creating an homage for this wonderful series. Um, so I absolutely love it. It's in the book. If you read it, tell me what you think. It's alongside like all of these great stories. So yeah, that's what mine's sort of about.
I I mean, it's certainly a feeling that I relate to, and I'm sure many of us could relate to on Substack. I mean, you are performing, you're exposed in a way that is kind of unreal. You can reach out and have an audience and touch so many people, and then those people can reach right back and punch you in the face. So I
And
think your
another thing,
story captures that really well.
I don't know if you've experienced this, but um, if you put out something and it does really well for your size of publication, it doesn't matter if it's like 10 people or 1,000 people, whatever. Um, if you have something that does well, uh, and then on Substack, it's so fleeting. It's like, well, that's done.
Yeah.
Moving on. Nobody's reading it anymore. And you're like, I spent so long on this and I put so much into it. And now it's just like out of there. And it's like, to me, I think you really have to survive this. I think you have to like honestly think. For me, I don't know. I I hesitate on saying that what people need to do, because I know that everybody has a different way of doing things. But for me, like I really do use the saying like process over product. Like it's got to be about like the actual writing, other, because then it's like it's out, it doesn't matter. You're on to the next
Mm-hmm.
thing, and it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And you could keep that
Mm-hmm.
going forever, and it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
require anybody else really. But it's easier said than done. You want people to care about your stuff. So
Right. No,
yeah,
I'm 100% with you. I mean, for me, it is about the experience and the act of creating. And, we live in a world where that then also has to be a product. And, this is the price we pay. People
yeah,
have to like it if you want to keep getting that experience.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me. Do you want to maybe like we can have like a chain of facilitators? Like I
Oh,
could
you
pass
want
the facilitator
no,
baton to
Andy?
you, and
No,
then
no,
you
no,
could
Andy, come
ask
on.
Will.
No, 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 no. I'm just kidding. Yeah,
Ah,
we'll just do
yeah.
like a little bit of a
Really
round
trying to.
robin thing here. Okay.
I actually really just enjoy sitting here watching you all talk. I enjoy this a lot, actually. And
I'm
so
See, that's the
not
role
mad
if
that
at
I could
I'm
you.
just
gunning
keep
for.
if I could just keep doing this, that would be
Yeah, I
great.
don't know. You just like now
Uh,
it's your turn.
No, what am I going to
now
talk
we're thrusting the baton to you now.
Yeah.
I
about? Okay. Well, mine
uh,
is pretty simple because mine was pretty thrown together at the last minute. It was a bunch of ideas that I had had for a long time, and they'd been stewing in my head for a long time. But um, whenever Sean messaged me and initially invited me, uh, I that idea wasn't quite formed yet. There was like I can't remember exactly because we're live, which what were those pieces that I stuck together initially, but there was like two or three different ideas. I knew that I wanted to tell a story out of order because I thought it would be interesting to do something like that. It would be challenging, something that I've kind of done in the past, but not in that way. I've kind of told a story backwards, but I've never jumbled it up before. Um, but I know another idea was I thought it would be interesting to try to justify a man killing his wife and child and try to make that like something that I don't know. It just seemed like an impossible thing, like how can I get a
right,
reader to go along with this and not only go along with it, but like be rooting for this guy. And I don't know if
right,
I was successful in that way, but I just I don't know. I just thought it would be interesting this heinous thing. How could I make this something that people would be behind it? And
right.
then I'm trying to think if there was something. I feel like there was another idea that I had mixed it up with. Oh yeah, and the idea of a man finding the uh, the instruction booklet to his wife. I just thought that was the initial thing that really connected it to the Twilight Zone because when Sean asked me if I had anything for it, I just kind of went through my notebooks and I just wrote out like six different ideas that could possibly work for it. And then I ended up just combining a bunch of those into one story. So, but yeah, that's my story. I don't know what else to talk about.
Well, I
So
remember. Oh, sorry, Sean. What were you saying?
um I just love that that you're able to just like have I think I'm everybody seems to have a bunch of good ideas and I'm like I don't got any fucking ideas.
Yeah, I'm the kind of person who's like, if I could just be doing anything. I could be walking around, I could be watching a movie, I could be listening to music, and for no reason at all, something just pops in my head, and it's just a piece of something almost always. And a lot of times it doesn't get used at all, but I do try to write those things down in a notebook or put it in my phone.
But you're not
And
Stephen King says you're not supposed to have a notebook, man.
right,
Don't
and
do
that's
it.
why he's way more successful than I am. There's a huge difference between me and Stephen King. So, I'm on Substack and he's doing really, really well.
Yeah.
I don't have it figured out. I don't even know how to hold this phone. Sorry. I'm having a hard time here.
That's the takeaway here, audience. We have not figured this out. You've come
No,
for
I
answers. You will find few.
and I have to apologize because I already told Andy and Sean, but I got here at the last second and I just grabbed my phone and I mean, very unprepared, very unprofessional. That's me.
Well, let me just say that this is not a professional meeting.
Oh,
He said
good.
at the beginning,
That's why I was
this is
invited.
casual. It's
Yeah,
9 p.m. on a Friday on the
yeah,
East Coast
right,
for me. We wanted to get together and talk about the work that we all participated in and we're excited about.
right.
How
Yeah,
did
and
you
it's
just sorry, how did you decide on like the sequence and that like how because you start off on part 6.
Great question.
yeah. Um, I mean it's a good question. I remember writing down in my notebook everything. Sorry, I'm trying to get the shadow out of my face.
Oh, you're good.
Um, all right, so I remember writing down everything that I wanted to happen in the story. and I knew that I wanted the last part first and the first part last. And I'm pretty sure that I ended up doing that in the end. I honestly don't remember. I think the first part is how it ends, and the last part is how it begins. But anyway, I just wrote everything out as if it was a linear story, and then I tried to I tried to break up each sequence and try to just rearrange it in multiple different ways to see what the most effective way as a reader, try to be objective about it, and just try to think about if I was reading this for the first time, how would this unfold? And I'm pretty sure I had to tweak it a lot. I had to make it work. I had to, take a character out of one sequence and put him in another sequence or whatever. But honestly, it wasn't that difficult. It was only 6 parts, and it's a fairly short story. So I don't know. I mean, I can tell you that I procrastinated. I can't even remember when you asked me. I don't know if I had a 2 months or a month, but I literally wrote it within the last week. So and I don't know if I even told you. I'm pretty sure I did tell you, but you messaged me and you're like, "So where are you at in this story?" And I had not written a single word for it yet. I had like the idea for it. I knew what I was going to do, but I hadn't actually sat down and typed it. And yeah, and I was just like, I can't even lie to you. Like, I haven't done anything at all, but it will be done. And I did edit it a few times because it was a mess when I first put it out there, and I didn't realize until like 2 days later. I went back and read it, and I was like, "Oh, I gotta clean this up." But
You could have
that's
gotten
under
away with it too.
yeah. Well, now it's in print, so I hope that it's okay now. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, so Andy, it's your turn.
Oh, okay. I
Get away,
won't
get off of me.
speak. I won't speak very long because I do want to kind of get into the genesis of this project because I myself don't know the answer to that. So I'll be asking you, Sean. But my story, it's about voting, and what you might be voting for, and in many cases, I see a lot of spectacle involved with that, and I see a lot of murder involved with that choice. And so, with my story, I wanted to just cut out all of the kind of interfering narratives that might be interposed in that choice, and just have people voting to kill someone every day. And I originally wrote it. I got a couple pages into a screenplay, and then I realized that it would be an absolute nightmare to like get the formatting into Substack, and so I changed it to a graphic novel script using a graphic novel script I've used in the past. And I wanted to steal, some 1950s imagery, some uh, Twilight Zone imagery, some Fallout imagery. I wanted to scatter in like little details of bleakness, like there's no fresh food anymore. Everything comes in boxes. Obviously, you have massive levels of inequality, and even the people in the higher tranches of the society live completely controlled and miserable lives. And of course, I wanted the main character to suffer. I have a cruel streak, so I take it out on my characters. And, probably when Daphne walked out onto the page, you knew that nothing good was going to happen to her. So that's more or less where my thought process was for vote control. And I have to thank Shane. Oh man, pronouncing your last name, Shane Bzdak. Bzdak. Shane, you did an
Stock.
amazing job translating it into print. Bizdoc. Shane, thank you so much. It looks incredible. You did a fantastic job.
Yeah, I agree. It's an amazing work all around. Like, I love the stories, I love the design, I love the layout, and it was definitely the least painful anthology experience that I've been a part of. I've been a part of some pretty painful anthologies in the past, so it was amazing. And I could be wrong, but I think it's his first anthology, which is wild because it just went so smoothly. So yeah. props to everybody that made this happen.
Yeah, so how did this happen? I think I came on board pretty late. Sean, do you know some of the backstory of like how this was initially conceived?
Yeah, I mean, this started out from a really simple question in my subscriber chat. It was just like, "Hey, I like the Twilight Zone. What's your favorite episode?" Like one of these kind of things. And people, chimed in there, and we all started chatting, and that's kind of like that was like the little ember. And then Jay hit me up and he's like, oh, it'd be kind of cool to like, have like some sort of event. So I'm okay. I'm gonna say this right now. I didn't have any part of the book. Like Shane and Jay did the whole thing. I keep getting thanked for it. I had no part of that. I'm in the book. I'm taking some of the credit, but I didn't like. I should probably say that I didn't do anything. Um, but the initial part, I did help, you know, reach out to people and get the whole thing going and the promo and all that stuff. But Jay, like you said, he's really good at this. He's really good at organizing people and collaborating and just getting things out into the world. So I like none of this shit would happen without Jay. Like Jay is like
Yes.
the person, who did all
It
this.
it's
And
incredible.
it's incredible. And we had such a good experience that I'm actually involved in another anthology that we've been working on since August. Long time. Um, which now the print is going out through one publisher, but the ebook is actually going to be released by Jay because we just had such a great experience. We're like, well, let's hit up Jay about this. William Polly here is part of that collection too, so that'll be cool.
Well,
We haven't
plug
really
it.
Yeah.
haven't really we haven't, and I mean, should we just say it? No, it's a cool horror like bird anthology thing, but some awesome Substack writers on there. It's gonna come out. Who knows when, in the next couple months though. But it's been written since like August, so it's been a long time. All of these amazing stories just waiting to come out. But yeah, so we got Jay to help us with that too. um, so really I had a very little small part of like starting up the chat. And then I helped to, we started talking about like who do we want in here, right? Who would be cool? And we just started naming people that we thought would be like interesting and that might like Twilight Zone. And here's something I want to say: there are a ton of people out there that weren't involved that could definitely be involved in this that I didn't know yet well enough, or I didn't know at all. Um, some people reached out to me like toward the end wanting to be part of it, and it just couldn't happen because it was too close to the event time. If you are into the Twilight Zone, Jay and I have been talking, and that could and Shane, and that could happen. We could do another one. It might happen. Who knows? Um, I won't say for sure yet, but I think that there are like just hundreds. I don't know how many people. A lot of people who would be great with the Substack Zone stuff and putting out stories there. Um, John Ward actually hit me up at the last minute and was like, "Is it too late to join in?" And I was like, "Oh, dude, it's like coming. We're doing this in like 3 days or something like that. I forget what it was. It was something crazy." And he's like, "Oh, I think I could do it." And I was like, "Oh, listen, if you can do it, do it. Like, let's make it happen." And he did it, and it was awesome. It was featured on the Substack Daily or whatever the heck
Yeah,
it's
that
called.
was amazing. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
really cool.
and that got the fiction community like a ton of eyeballs, which we don't get a lot of. So that was a big moment. Yeah, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of talent on Substack. It's a deep well. It's extremely annoying because it makes you have to work harder, but it is also, just great that you get pushed. Substack does push you, and I need the push. I think the push is good.
Yeah,
Should
in the last couple of years, it's almost completely replaced my reading habits completely. Like I almost exclusively read Substack now. Whenever I have a chance to read, I every occasionally I'll listen to an audiobook or pull a book out, but not like I used to. I used to read anywhere from like 50 to 100 books a year, and now it's like I don't know. I think I've read like maybe 4 or 5 books in the last 6 months. I don't know. It's mostly just been Substack. Every chance I get, it's phenomenal. I love it.
there's a lot of great stuff here.
And
Should we open up some? Sorry, do you want to say
I
something,
was just
Sean?
gonna say, I thought it was funny when you were talking about your story, how like everything you said, I was like, oh, that kind of just sounds like reality. That doesn't even sound like fiction. That's what I love about your stories.
Ah,
They're so grounded in like real social issues, that it's like, oh yeah, yeah.
you found my very obvious trick
I love
to
it.
just write down what is happening
Yeah.
and then
Oh
slap a
God,
fiction
this
label
is
on
terrible.
it. Yeah, I actually never thought of myself as a horror writer until I do not read reviews anymore, but I used to, and someone said when there was a review that was like all caps, like this needs a horror label on it. So I thought like, oh, I never occurred to me, but I guess it does. Oh, and let's see, let's not we got a lot of energy in the chat here.
Uh-oh, what's going
Should
on?
we we're at a half hour here, I know it's late here on the East Coast. Would you want to stick around and field a couple questions from the audience? Do you have any final thoughts? How do you gentlemen want to conclude our event, our casual limited hang?
Yeah, I think that's a good
Or do
idea.
you want to go forever? Just
I think
stay
we,
up all night and talk?
I think we should just go forever. Yeah, that's a
Okay.
good plan. I think maybe if anybody has any questions in chat, we'll try to see the little chat here.
Yeah, it's get our
Yeah,
faces real close to the camera.
they have to improve this. This is rough. I'm trying to scroll through
Uh,
here.
no one is in the least bit curious about us. We have enticed no one. They're just like, we have heard enough.
They're not even listening to
Uh,
us. They're talking to themselves.
it's just-
What the hell? I'm just kidding.
Here's a
Oh,
question.
okay. This is
All
the
right.
question. Who wants to take it?
All right. So hold on. I tried to read it.
I'm gonna read it before I volunteer. Uh,
Okay. You want to read it out loud? Oh man, I just lost the chat. Where'd it go? Go away.
Uh, yeah, I see. I could field this one to start. For me, I have like an extreme prejudice towards dialogue. I much prefer dialogue. So, I, think in terms of dialogue a lot and not so much in narration. And then also I have kind of like a sort of very visual and scenic view of what I want to emerge. Can kind of get like a vibe about what I want to happen.
Yeah, for me, my stories um tend to be either a setting, a scene, or a prop or something. And then my latest one, Daniel, was actually a little bit different. Well, not really. It was the idea of having a stage in the middle of the woods was kind of where, and I was like, oh, okay, who's on the stage? And then the dialogue happened. So it usually starts off with something like that. Oh, yeah.
yeah. Sorry, I was reading. There's another question. Yeah, so with me, I just have a very visual mind. So almost everything, I kind of see things like as a film in my head.
Mm.
And occasionally I will get a line or something that'll come to me, but it's mostly just visual things. And I think that that kind of I don't know, it kind of helps me. Uh, I don't know. Whenever I'm doing like my outlining, I know a lot of people don't outline and they just kind of like live in the moment. But I like to outline. I like to have a beginning, middle, and end. But I like to give myself a lot of space to work and kind of improv to a certain degree. And I think that with my the way that that my mind works, it's I'm just able to kind of like picture it like it is a movie, and then I just kind of describe what I'm seeing, and then that's usually when the words come to me. But again, I will come up with titles all the time. And the titles, I don't really know what the story is going to be. I'll just write something down, and I probably have at least 20 or 30 titles of things that don't have stories yet. It's just I know that they are something, it's gonna happen at some point. But yeah, it's mostly just visual.
Andy, do you outline? Yeah.
No, I'll write scenes and then I'll kind of like stick them together. I don't outline at all. I mean, I
I,
kind of have an idea of like where I want things to go, but I don't try and figure out how to get there. I just try and do it.
Well, see, my problem is that you can probably tell just by talking to me is that if I don't have a beginning, a middle, and end at least, then I'm just going to rant, and it's just going to end up in this weird space that I don't even know like what it is anymore, and it's not really a story. It's just some thing, that I'll just end up picking apart and putting in other stories. So
But
yeah.
you touch on something that I really like about Substack, and that is I find it like really kind of aggravating how kind of cataloged and categorized and deciphered so much of writing and art is. Like, what's the genre, what's it about, who are the characters, what kind of act, what kind of structure, it's like what is it? And it's sort of like I never know the answer to the question. It's just a thing that I made. I'd like to share it with you. You tell me, what you think it is. Maybe it's something different to you. And when I was querying, that was something many people struggle with this, but this was something that I always found like incredibly frustrating. And on Substack, you don't have to do it. You can just put it out, and people will read it, and you can just be like, here's the thing, read it. Don't read it. This is just like some words that I put out here, and there's no, that all that work gets to go to the people who enjoy it.
Right.
Maybe that was total nonsense. Just
No,
silence.
what? I'm
no,
just kidding.
I'm not trying to hog all the airtime. Sorry. But
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think it's funny too, like how I don't know, it kind of goes with that where I just kind of am just doing things, and I don't really like I do make a lot of plans and I do think a lot about my stories, but for the most part I'm just kind of like winging things and just throwing things out there, and a lot of it is not successful and a lot of it doesn't get a lot of attention. But when it does get attention, it's funny how uh the readers make me seem like I've got it more together than I really do, or even that I'm smarter than I am, because the readers will see things that I definitely was not thinking when I was writing. Um, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. No, but yeah, I don't know. It's we live in a funny time, I guess, where we can literally just write something in the morning and share it and then have feedback, and it's pretty great.
Yeah, that's a pretty powerful closing sentiment to me. Do you gentlemen have any other thoughts? Anything else you'd like to add?
Thoughts. Uh,
Crickets.
uh,
No thoughts here. Just vibes.
just vibes here.
Just a casual,
Um,
friendly hang. Some people who write.
honestly, I have loved this so much. Like getting on here and talking with you guys and like having the chat here with people. I wish there was a better way to like look at the chat and respond and talk all at the same time, but I can't
Yeah.
do anything. I could only do one thing at a time. So, but yeah, I love this. I think that we should all encourage each other to do more of these with like multiple
Yes.
people and talk about like talk about our passions, what we like and what we don't like on Substack. Not everybody should do that. If you're like if you're a jerk,
I should not do
you
that.
should do that. But not everybody. But
Make
the
a list. Make a list of the people who should do it and who shouldn't do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
the cool.
Put me
I'll
on the
make a
should not
list.
list, please.
You can only do it if you're on my list, and then you can do it. That sounds like a good plan.
And let me be clear to the audience. I am only in this position not through any vote, not through any collective will, not through any skill or acumen. I'm here because they said, who wants to go live? And I raised my hand.
Sucker.
So that's all it takes.
Wait, one more thing before we go. Like this was all just a couple people being like, let's start something, right? Like anybody could do this. Like, I mean, nobody like Jay. You have to have somebody
Only
like
Jay
Jay
can
who
do
can
this.
get.
No one
Only Jay can really do
else.
this. But theoretically,
Jay.
anybody could do it. But if you
Yes.
have somebody like Jay.
Yeah.
No, but really, like you don't have to. It doesn't have to be this huge thing. Like I'm doing another thing with some awesome authors here. That it's just four of us, doing a thing. Like it could be small. It could be, but I think that the collaboration on Substack, we could totally do it more, and try to mix it up. I know it feels sometimes. I think to people looking like things are clicky, right? um Try to mix up who you collaborate with, who you engage with. I think like that
Yes.
that would it would help the whole community because then it feels more like, okay, we're all in this together and we're all trying to like
Yes.
do
Yes.
something. So
Yes.
and I'm guilty of it too, because I have people that I feel safe with, so I like pair with them a lot. But I do think it's good to go outside your comfort zone. Hit up the smaller publications that don't have a lot of subscribers that are really good. Try to
Yep.
bring them into the
Yep.
mix, and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Like really, like try to lift up the whole
Yep.
the whole like fiction community. Um,
Yep.
the end.
And to the chat, I love that, and I really do think that like collaboration has been so powerful for me personally on Substack. And I think it is in our best interest, especially in the fiction world, because if we can band together, we can kind of like launch that energy to the mainstream of Substack. And there are 20 million people on the app. Like, we don't need to be fighting each other for the readers in the fiction section. We need to be breaking out and
Yeah,
and
yeah,
bringing people to us and saying like, hey, there's some really cool stuff here, you need to check it out.
absolutely.
I
So if
agree.
anybody has any ideas,
Yeah, we have no thoughts or ideas,
yeah,
just
no ideas, just like saying, yeah, let's do it.
well,
All right,
I think I'm gonna hit the button to shut this down. I'm gonna watch some Vanderpump Rules, and that'll be my evening. I've had a great time um, speaking with you. This is actually the first time the three of us have ever talked. Before that, it's all been message collaboration. And thank you for everyone who came out to watch us. We appreciate you.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Nice meeting
everybody.
you all.
Later, guys.